It being 6:31, I'll open the meeting. And we do have a quorum. We're good for that. In deference to Kyle, we'll do the minutes later. And let Baypath present.
Right on. All right. I have extra copies if anybody needs a copy. Do we have any?
Yes.
Yes, you have one.
Yep, everyone's got one in their
yeah,
packet.
yeah.
They're just not, they're not
Okay.
fancy in color.
Not color.
I'm sorry.
Threw me off.
Yeah, budget cuts.
So thank you. I'm Kyle Brenner, proud superintendent of Bay Path Regional Vocational Technical High School. And our new business manager, Cindy Schofield, is actually in Auburn presenting to their FinCom budget. So we divide and conquer. Otherwise, she would be here. Tonight, we're going to present our FY26 proposed budget that was accepted by the school committee on March 3rd. If we go to the first slide, you can see our funding sources. Chapter 70 and 71 estimates are based on the governor's budget that was submitted January of 2025. The estimated Chapter 70 funding for FY26 is $14,565,806. Our estimated Chapter 71 funding for FY26 is $1,375,375. And I just remind you that these are preliminary estimates subject to change as the budget makes its way through the House and Senate. Slide 3, the impact on Bay Path. So here you can see a comparison of the FY26 over the FY25 budget. Our Chapter 70 is going up $112,194. Our minimum contributions to our town are going up $388,016. And our required net school spending overall is going up $500,210. Our FY26 total budget for assessment is $30,298,721. Our member town assessments are at the minimum. Budget includes debt service assessment of $1,552,003, and our operational budget does not require municipal funds above the minimum contributions by our member communities. Our member assessments total $13,665,798. Slide 5. Although assessments are at the minimum, it's important to note that the required minimum contributions that each town must contribute have increased collectively by $388,016. Our member town transportation assessment has increased by $345,176 due to a decrease in available regional transportation reimbursement funds this year. The district did allocate $260,531 from our E&D fund to partially offset that higher increase. Slide 6, financial highlights. Total Chapter 70 revenue is $14,565,806. Our school choice assessment, which we pay out, is $293,789. Our Chapter 71 busing aid is $1,375,375. We are proposing the use of $75,000 from our excess and deficiency to continue funding OPEB liability. And in FY24, the district missed its net school spending requirement by $660,595. The FY26 budget contains an appropriation of $500,000 from our E&D to reduce that shortfall.
How did you miss?
We didn't spend enough.
Didn't spend it. Oh, okay.
So we came in below our net school spending, and E&D is capped at 10%. So we have to account for that spending the following year. So FY26 budget summary. Up top, you see our operational budget, our Chapter 70, $14,565,806. We subtract out the school choice assessment of $293,789. Our assessments minimum contribution total is $11,613,795. There's no above minimum on that, and we added in $150,000 of fiscal 26 interest earnings, and our E&D to offset OPEB is $75,000, and our E&D to close the net school spending gap from the previous year is $500,000 for a total operational budget of $26,610 and $812. our transportation budget total is $2,135,906. The Chapter 71 aid is $1,375,375. We offset with their E&D contribute $260,531, and the assessment total for our towns will be $500,000. Our debt service, you can see what comprises of $1,552,003, which is $845,000 in principal and $707,003 in interest. There's no more capital. Buy-in assessment is zero. Sewer betterment fee is zero. Our FY26 budget for assessments is $30,298,721. Add back in the school choice, $293,789. That's a total budget, including school choice, of $30,592,510. But again, our proposed FY26 is the minus the school choice assessment, so $30,298,721. So what do we do with the money other than our total operational costs of salaries and so forth? Some of the budget highlights are we're adding a new diesel vocational program. This year we added one instructor, full-time instructor, to build the program. We just added that halfway through the year. And next year we propose adding another diesel instructor to bring that up to full speed on that. So 2 instructors in our diesel program.
What does diesel program mean?
The students will be prepared to enter the world to be a diesel mechanic. And a top-rated diesel mechanic these days are earning 6 figures easy. A parts manager is making $75,000. There's a huge demand for diesel mechanics, both over-the-road trucking, electric power generation, those are all diesel engines, heavy equipment, and agricultural equipment. So these students are going to be poised to walk right out into a job. Part of setting a new program up is working with our industry and local business, and as soon as we approach them, everyone signed on. So we've got a stellar advisory board already from ATG, Advantage Trucking Group, from ag equipment, from heavy equipment, and from all our local businesses. So yeah, that we worked also with Mass Hire for the regional blueprint to see the needs, and that is a number for growing demand for diesel mechanics out there.
Is this an additional program, or did you have to substitute?
It is an additional program. So we were able to fund this program through a Capital Skills Lab modernization grant. So we applied for that, and we got just over $700,000. So that money will go in to help us. Last year, the year before last year, we had a marketing teacher who left to take a job much closer to home. Marketing and business were 2 under-enrolled in programs, doing well. The state is looking at those 2 programs because they're closely aligned, business technology as well as marketing, about maybe collapsing those into one. So we've been working with the state monitoring that. We took the advantage of not having to do a layoff through attrition of a teacher. We merged those 2 programs, 3 teachers, and 1 solidly enrolled program now. So with that, we took the marketing classroom, and they joined with business technology. That opened up the marketing classroom. Our ISSN, which is IT technicians, is currently located and has been located in the old small engine repair shop, which is a kind of a hard trade shop, industrial-like. So we took the opportunity to use some of that money. We applied for the grant, got the grant. Our students are creating a state-of-the-art IT classroom in marketing. So they've got the desks that go up and down ergonomically. The cable wiring is all in there. It's going to. We think that will also increase enrollment in that, because when you walked into the other one, it was in half a shop and the other half was all storage. So it's like, why do I want to be in here? This is a professional lab for learning IT. Then we're going to use the rest of the money to convert the small engine. The conversion is not as big of a lift because it has the gas water separators and the drains and the air handling to get rid of the exhaust on that. And the rest of the money that we have, we're working with Snap-on, was just in the other day to set it up, do 3D renderings of where all the equipment and the tools that we're ordering.
That's what I was wondering, where physically you
Yep,
got the
it's
fire.
going to go right. So, and it's a perfect alignment when we think of collaboration between our other trades. because the diesel mechanic, the backside of it is metal fab. To the right of it, if you're looking at it, is advanced manufacturing, and right across, less than 25 yards is auto tech. So the collaboration that they can have in there, more often than not, when you're working on ag equipment, you're gonna have to fabricate something rather than wait for the parts. So you've got either metal fab in the back or advanced manufacturing that can 3D print that and turn it out. So it's like all the stars came in alignment for this.
Sounds awesome.
So we jumped on the grant opportunity, and it's going to be a huge win for the community as well as our students.
Good. Congratulations.
Thanks. We're going to add 10 part-time student summer positions. These positions will supplement our buildings and grounds custodians on that, and they will be our students coming from building property maintenance or construction or electrical. So these are minimum wage jobs for our students to have an opportunity to earn some money over the summer, as well as help out the things that would be nice to do, but not necessarily can do with all the other uptakes on that. So, and we're going to add a vocational instructional coach. I think last year we were added an academic instructional coach, and the undertakings and the need for that was very high. Our vocational have a different set of needs than academic classrooms, so this will be geared towards just providing instructional coaching to our academic teachers to help them with all their classes, differentiating instruction and building a robust, engaging curriculum. We're going to add a health dental vocational aid. This is needed in our dental assisting, and mainly will be in there and to help out if a teacher in the health is absent. It has the right credentialing to go over there. It includes contractual wage increases for all of our employees, and you've heard since I've been here in the 5 years, we haven't had an increase in healthcare. It's an 18% increase in our healthcare this year. That's industry standard for us. We're seeing some of our peers looking at 22, 23% increases. And working with the Hampshire group, they've realized now that their reserves in the good years, they didn't pass on an increase, that they should pass on a modest increase to prepare for this, rather than, the reserves have been tapped pretty significantly, so to build those back up so they have enough money. The 18% increase, but over the years, they will, if it's a good year, they will put a modest increase of 1 or 2% on that, so we don't have to see this.
Isn't that the same number?
Yeah, same, if they're a part of the same
Okay.
trust group we are.
Oh, so yeah,
Yes,
the same
yeah,
thing.
same
So
thing.
big increase. We've had like 1 year they gave us
We had a
money
reduction
back.
1 year, and then we had a 0% increase on that reduction 1 year, and then we had like a 6%, and then
Yeah.
8%, and now it's 18.
Boom. Yeah.
It was due.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to continue to use our SOA Student Opportunity Act funds to provide professional development to our staff for the programs focused on social and emotional issues of students. And the use of the SOA funds will provide programs and speakers to students who address issues such as bullying, bias, mental health, and more. And it will also, our budget will supply accounts for supply of material accounts funded to account for the increased inflation, and hopefully not the tariffs, because those hopefully won't be too bad. Shop equipment, some of the big things, steaming oven for culinary arts, landscape utility vehicle for our building and property students, updated student workstations for our HVAC students, and those are currently in the works. And auto collision will be getting a new frame machine. So our freshman seat allocation for FY26 will see a modest increase of 5 students, and that will help start building slowly our diesel tech program on that. You can see the school-age children for each one of the communities. Charlton has 2,053 school-age children, which comprises 11.6% of our total district school-age population of 17,695. If we take that 11.6 times our 330 available freshman seats, Charlton is allotted 38 incoming freshman seats. Foundation enrollment for Bay Path. This is the total enrollment by towns through all 4 of our grades. We have a total of projected total of 1,236 students next year, and Charlton comprises 182 total students. That's a decrease of 14 students over the previous year of 196 overall. 14 student reduction on
can I ask a question for that?
Sure.
Does that mean that a junior might leave the program and go to a different high school? Is that why the minus 14 kids?
Yep, most likely the biggest is a large graduating class. So there's a larger senior class going out, and incoming is a reduced number. But we tend to lose students. They move out of district, or they choose to go back to their sending school district on that.
And is there a way that the allocation, if Charlton had 14 spaces, is there a way that those would get reallocated to different grade levels for waiting lists?
The waiting list, and it's a great question. They're 4-year programs. The wait list is open up until sophomore year. So we'll pull off of that. So right now, when freshmen are placed, we see what programs are unenrolled on that, and we can open that up to current freshmen who will come in as a sophomore. So once all the dust settles and the moving, because I didn't get my number one choice, so I want to go and try this shop. Once all that settles, we know the total enrollment by program. We'll see what's under enrolled. Last year, it was very successful. We did a 1-day explore for interested freshman students from our 10 towns to come in and explore the under-enrolled programs and select which one they wanted to go in. We use the wait list and we go to it, say, I'll just use electronics. Electronics is under-enrolled. We have 5 spots, so we'll go to the wait list and see who picked up electronics from last year's applicants, number 1, and we'll reach out to them and say, are you interested? But you're applying to electronics only. There's no Explore if you're interested.
You have that ability to funnel.
Yep. So we're going to do that. I think May 10th is the day that the students will come in from our interested students interested in transferring in for their sophomore year. Will come in on May 10th, try, I think we have 4 programs that are under-enrolled, and they'll see if they are interested in doing that and making the switch over. So that's the wait list we'll pull off.
Okay.
Anytime someone leaves this year, but that's it, because after that you've missed too much.
Okay, yeah.
And just so you, because you never say never, you know a friend whose son transferred in as a junior or a senior, they're most likely coming from a vocational school. Someone in Framingham going to Keefe Tech, relocated to one of our 10 towns, we will accept them in.
Okay.
Just like we would expect them to accept, if it's a student of ours that moves out of district, we expect that they would pick them up, and so they can continue their studies in the vocational one.
Okay, I have another question. Sorry, I just
Sure,
know
that's right.
I know there's a large 8th grade class right now for Charlton trying to get in, so.
Yeah, we know the wait list.
Yeah, and
It
so.
hasn't gone out, the letters will go out for acceptance by the end of this week.
Okay, and so what about, are there any sending towns that don't fill all of their spots? And then what happens to those spots?
So currently there's not. So we have more applications from all of our
From every town?
towns. If they weren't in the past, that has occurred.
Okay.
Those seats are reallocated based on these percentages. So
Okay.
and there's not a lot. If there's 5, it just goes there.
Okay,
So it's reallocated based on the percentages from the student age population.
and what's the, sorry, I get a lot of questions.
That's
So I
right.
have, so someone's getting, so like your child gets accepted, but hasn't yet to decide if they're gonna go or they're not gonna go.
Yep, so
What's
that-
the deadline time for that, where then if that person decided no, then it opens up again?
So they choose whether they accept the acceptance. As soon as we know that, and again, once all the dust settles out and we have a firm number, that wait list for that town comes in to play.
Okay.
So we pull right from the town. So if 4 kids from Charlton said no, we're going to St. John's, those 4 go to the next 4 in line
It stays with
in
Charlton?
the wait list.
Okay, thank you.
The wait list
But it stays in Charlton.
stays in Charlton.
It doesn't get
Charlton
bumped
has
into
38.
Auburn or Oxford.
Nope, so it goes 1 for 1. So if a Charlton student tells us thanks, but no thanks, I'm not coming, that goes to the next one on the wait list from Charlton.
From Charlton.
If a Southbridge student says they're going to St. Paul's, that goes back to a Southbridge. And then, once all the dust settles, we'll know on that. So we feed right off of that to start as close to 330 as we can.
And what's the deadline that a student would have to accept or not?
Deadlines don't mean much. We just continue to call. We put a date on the letter when they need to get back to us, and then we continue to call to get a positive or negative response on that, so we can back on it.
Okay.
Those are all the phone calls going through.
Yeah, it's not like if you haven't told us by this date, sorry, we're giving your
We
spot.
can't, right, because then it's like, I never called you, I never said that, so we have to document everything, so we hold it until we get written documentation
Okay.
that they did, because inevitably it's,
Okay, thank
trouble
you.
ensues on that. Can I take just,
Jamie?
Yeah, sorry, I had a lot.
can I take one aside on that while we're talking about incoming?
Yeah.
Currently, our applications are based on, academics, attendance. There's been a lot of talk, if you're not aware of it, about changing statewide the regulations. We follow the Massachusetts state regulations, Chapter 70, for how to conduct admissions. The state has just proposed in their last Board of Education meeting, the State Department of Education has proposed changes to those regulations that change it to a lottery. So if you're opposed to a lottery, or you feel strongly one way or another, it's open for public comment. I would encourage anybody to get online and make your public comment known. You can just go to, if you type in Board of Education, Massachusetts, and you can find it there. If you want it, feel free to email me, and I'll send you the link right to the public comment sections. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of going back and forth. There's been about disproportionality, that some schools don't mirror the demographics of the towns that are sending. The state hasn't been upfront in providing us hard numbers on what that is. There's a lot. My personal opinion is the decision to go to a lottery was made before they really dove into the numbers, and they're going to put it out to a lottery. We prepare our students for college and career. I would say career, we can drop out college. If your career requires a bachelor's or a master's, then you got to go on there. I don't know of a single career that selects, or a single college for that matter, public or private, that accepts their students via a lottery or hires an employee by putting all the resumes in a bucket and pulling them out on that. So the students work hard and they come in. It is fair, it is equitable as best that we can be. There are 400 seats for more than 5 years now. In talking about this, every single vocational administrator and teacher has been advocating for more seats. Statewide, there is anywhere from 8,000 to 11,000 students on a wait list to get into a vocational school. Here, we have over 400 students in our 10-town districts. Build more seats, and then you don't have to worry about a lottery or selective criteria. Just changes the face of the student sitting outside saying, unfair, I want in.
So is that lottery happening now, like for this incoming class? Or
If
is
these
that
regs
next
go
year?
through, so it's a 30-day, February presentation from DESE, the Department of Education, Secondary Elementary Education, in February was a qualified lottery. So if students didn't have any more than 10 absences, if students didn't have any of the discipline, the big discipline, we call them 37H, H&H, drugs, assaults, and weapons, then they would go in the lottery. Grades were out. As long as you were advancing to 9th grade, you got a chance at the lottery. They proposed that. The vast majority of the Marlboro the vocational administrators were acceptance of that. It's like, okay, ask any employer, what do you want in an employee? We ask them all the time, at least 3 times a year. They say someone who shows up, attendance. You want them there. And, a good worker, follows rules, discipline. Every time a student walks into our school, I don't care what shop it is, they have a tool that could be easily turned into a weapon. They're working around a machine that can easily, if they're not paying attention, or they're maim or kill themselves or a student around them. So discipline and attendance, we are holding tight. We have held tight on that. Grades, we've done a lot, and we've pretty much if you had a C, you weren't failing the course. You get full credit on your grades on that, because we know that C students and B students and A students can all be excellent in their own trades. The qualified lottery was acceptable. We said, what about interest? Because there's a lot of students who come to us now who just don't want to be in their sending school. They just don't want to go there. I don't know what I want. I'm not really interested. But that school has a 98% graduation rate and a 1% dropout rate, and they're very successful. I want to be a part of that school. We argue that interest should be part. So the student who truly wants to come in and take one of the 23 courses in vocational education has that opportunity for that. They took it back, said they would address that. It came back with their proposed changes 5 hours before the Bessie meeting was to start, so nobody had a chance to review it and dig into it. And they presented it with a weighted lottery. So every student gets a ticket. Any student puts their name on an application, regardless of interest, just that they want to go there, gets a ticket. If you have less than 27 absences in a year and a half, then you get another ticket. And if you have no weapons, drugs, or assaults, you get a third ticket. So there is still a potential that a student who has an absolutely clean record won't get selected, but a student who has missed 40 days of school and has multiple long-term suspensions could get it. So those are the facts. So whether you're for the lottery, against the lottery, your opportunity to comment is now. The next board meeting is April. Don't hold me on it. I'll get that. If you're interested, I have it all. I can mix up my dates, but yeah.
But you're saying that the letters are going to go out to the students this week. So what is that based upon?
We are working off our current admissions policy, which has selective criteria on it. We do have a component of a lottery, any student on the wait list. So say 200 students apply and that town has 50 spots. We score the applications and we go from top score down to bottom score, and then we count down to 50, and that's the cutoff. If at 50 there are 35 students, if at 50 there are 10 students or 35 students at the cutoff score of say 90, and only 5 of those can get in, we take all students who scored the 90 and they are in the lottery. So that's where it is. It's a little bit different. Every student, once all applications are scored and proved complete, every student is randomly assigned a number, a 4-digit number. And we do the cut score, cut that. Those students in there are ranked by that 4-digit number, random assignment, so from top to bottom. So that's a lottery.
Okay. Isn't
So
it
they're
likely that there could be 38 Charlton students that have the highest? There could be
So
45.
we could have 38. You could have 50 Charlton students with 100,
Right,
and only 38 get in.
right.
All 50 100s are randomly assigned.
So that's the lottery part of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're ranked by lottery number. They're ranked by score first, and then by lottery number.
Okay.
And the lottery is, highest to lowest.
Yeah.
So it is random
Thank you.
at that point. All right. Thank you for that aside. It's important.
Sorry.
It's important. It stands to change all
A
the
couple
great
of us
work.
have 8th graders sitting
Yeah,
on
it
the
stands
tables,
to
so we get
change.
asked a lot.
How our schools operate going forward. It could have a significant impact. And sends a wrong message that life is just about chance. Not that way.
Hard work.
Yep. My editorial. That's my opinion of it. So slide 13, our statement of assessments. All 10 towns are listed here. You can see the minimum contributions based on the percentage from foundation enrollment. Our total contributions, minimum contribution, $11,613,795. Charlton's 14.72% of that, which is $2,296,302. Transportation assessment, total is $500 for our 10 towns. Again, the capital population, Charlton's 11.6 of 500 is 73,625. Our debt service is based on that ratio as well, so of the $1,552,000. Charlton shares $180,066 for a total assessment of $2,549,993. You can see that clearer on slide 15, which shows the minimum contribution. There is no assessment above minimum. Transportation cost, debt service cost for a total assessment, and you can see the comparison of FY25. So minimum contribution has gone up $24,714. Transportation has gone up $49,212. Debt service has gone down $2,273 for a total assessment increase of $71,653, or 2.89% over last year.
I have another question for you.
Sure.
I was going to ask it back to slide 5, but I think because you have it on here too, it will make sense.
Yep.
So you said that our transportation assessment has increased by $345,176 because of the regional transportation reimbursement funds being decreased at the state level, right?
Regional transportation reimbursement funds are funds that we set up.
Okay.
So any leftover money we put into that, and we use it to offset the following year's cost.
Okay.
Historically, well, since I've been here, that's been in the range of about $500,000. We didn't have that. Last year's assessment came in, so
Okay.
It's much lower. So we were able to reduce it down by adding $260,000 rather than
Yeah, I saw
$500,000.
that.
So that's why.
Do you expect that we will, is it hard to even gauge this, that we will need to absorb this cost years going forward?
It's hard to project that. It might not be that much because now, as it works its way through the House, they may put more.
Okay.
We're not funded 100% for regional transportation. Typically, it's been around 70%
Yep.
and so forth. They're working towards increasing that,
Mhm.
so they could come out with a higher percentage that they're giving back. And if that goes in, that's reflected back to our 10 towns. We reduce that.
Okay.
But we always look to use our E&D to help offset some of those costs.
Okay.
What percentage do you use to budget for the state? We don't know what we're going to get yet.
We wait for the numbers, and these are the numbers that came out from the governor.
Okay.
So this is their initial projection. It could go up.
Yeah.
It could go up, and they take some of that money away to fund in a different area. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's my second year. Every year transportation is unknown.
yeah. It is. It's we do the best we can, and that's why Dean Ikabuchi back then set up the regional transportation reimbursement fund to help offset that going forward with any leftover funds. Grand totals. Again, so minimum contribution. This is overall for all 10 towns, sorry. So yeah, 732,172 increase, or 5.67% overall increase on that. And I thank you for your continued support, and happy to answer any other questions.
Yeah, I think kind of gave you enough questions already. Thank you, Amy.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
No, no.
That's all right. An opportunity to tell you about the new admissions.
That's right. And in case any of you missed it, Bay Path did get a shout out. I let Kyle know on MSNBC, I believe it was. So they showed a picture of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette, because they were talking about vocational schools. And on the cover of the Telegram and Gazette was a Bay Path student, I think in dental.
Dental, yep.
I think it was in dental. And you can see Bay Path right across the shirt.
great.
So got a little national shout out there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That was nice. Anything else we got? Superintendent? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope they're doing as well in Auburn.
I think she texted. All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
You too.
All right, so we will get back to our agenda. Let's do the minutes of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, well, you've got two. So for the
I'll make a
February,
motion for the February
yeah, for the February 26th.
Yes.
I have a motion to accept. Is there a second? Second. I have a
Oh.
You got it?
Take Jeremy.
Pick one.
Jeremy.
Okay, Jeremy. Any discussion, any changes, any corrections? There being none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's unanimous. Oh, I gotta sign these.
Yep.
Yeah, you started. All right, I'll entertain a motion, we accept the minutes of the March 17th meeting.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second over here. Any discussion? Changes, corrections, additions?
Who was the second?
Right.
There being none, all those in favor of approval, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. It's unanimous. There you go.
You go of the
Okay.
low.
That's that. All right, a review of the budgets. Why don't you come on up and join us? Well, actually, we've got the chiefs here.
Yeah, we're
I
over
didn't
here.
realize that you were on the agenda, I'm sorry.
They're not.
We're not.
They're here to support their positions.
Yeah.
I told them I fit them, they have to support.
All right.
I was
All right.
Susan Bishop, so make sure we don't have to sign that.
All right, I thought we did something wrong. I wasn't so much worried about the fire chief as the police chief.
You gotta watch him, he's a trouble.
All right, so maybe I thought a good place to start, Andrew, was your cover letter.
Yeah.
Because this was a good summation of what's behind the budget.
Yeah.
So if we go through that, and then we can hit any individual. Did you
I
not?
don't believe we all have the cover.
No, I didn't put that one in there,
Oh, you didn't put that in the.
in the packet, no,
In
but
the
it's up on
packet, I'm
the,
sorry.
it's up on the board.
Do I just
TV.
or summarize?
Yeah, all right, Andrew, you can.
Yeah, so essentially, as we went through it, we didn't really have any for general government positions, so had everything above public safety, in the budget. We didn't have any new positions. Really, the only anomaly that's in there is the amount that's in the human resources budget. Again, that's just an amount to cover us for pending retirements and contracts that are still pending. So we still have the police union contract that's in negotiations, and then, which in the FY26 budget, if settled in time, will essentially be 2 years, essentially this last year plus FY26. So that one will look inflated by the time that it gets settled, just because we have that extra year contracts to pull in. For the public safety side, we were able to fit in the administrative sergeant, the emergency telecommunicator position. On the fire side, we had the EMS officer position, and which also had the 2% price increases for operational costs. We did fit in a part-time building inspector position as requested by the Finance Committee. And we worked with the Council on Aging to essentially not move forward into next year with the overlook meals, and in exchange provide the additional hours.
Have they made that announcement?
They've notified Overlook, whether or not that's gone internally or not, but Overlook's been notified. that they're
I
not-
wonder what.
So I know her survey that she was talking about when she was here last.
Right.
The results of that also sided with them wanting more Tri-Valley.
Oh,
So
well,
Good.
Well, that worked
Good,
out
good,
good.
good.
Yeah,
So it'd
so
be
it was a
a
perfect storm.
Right,
yeah.
I was afraid that she
Yeah.
didn't get a lot of pushback.
She got a lot of pushback on the pricing. So people didn't want to pay the overlook price.
Yeah.
They were fine with the new food from Tri-Valley because it was better.
Great.
It wasn't, I don't know, I can't speak for them, but her results did show. So if people weren't one way or the other, they were for the price of Tri-Valley.
Gotcha. All right.
Or they were for Tri-Valley over being for Overlook. And some people said they didn't mind either way. But a lot of it, I think, was cost driven too.
Well, as long as they have.
Yeah. So out of all the proposed new positions that were requested, the only two that were not included were the library position, which kind of fallen to the bottom of the list, and the deputy EMD position. In conversation with the chiefs, we were looking at if we're adding the additional administrative person on the police department side, then maybe some of those duties and tasks could be taken up by that individual or within the police department to take on, essentially what would be, whatever I can't handle personally, or some of those tasks that may have been assigned to a part-time position. And I think the difficulty, as we see with any part-time position, is trying to fill it, with somebody who has the available hours, or is willing to do the work, and also stay committed to the task, and, essentially a part-time person who is going to be available in the event of an emergency.
Right.
So, considering those factors, this was kind of the slate of positions that we were able to fit in provide a law service.
Good.
Or a zero-based budget.
And years ago, police used to hold somebody from the police department did hold EMD, and when he retired, he kind of moved over to fire, and then it stayed in fire for a bit. So they both had experience in it.
Okay.
So
Well, appreciate you guys working that out together.
Police department always tries to work out, fire department deals.
You say that every time, Chief. You guys only, 2 months in the job. Give them a break.
We suggested it first, just to be honest. And it begins, the back and forth.
That's right.
So overall, the budget as proposed is about, with the school request increase is about a 6.3% increase over the prior year. See in the budget overview, we're in FY24, we're essentially a 10% increase, 25 or an 8.2% increase, and this year we're at 6.3%.
Still the right direction.
Even with the large school, essentially continuing our 8% school assessments, we are cutting back a little bit, but we say we'll more or less see where we're at further on in the fiscal year. As you said, we use very conservative new growth numbers this time of the year to try to budget around and then get a better handle as to where we're at later on in the year based on new growth.
No, go ahead, Chairman.
Just really quick, what was the feedback from the old home day committee, just based on how much they were asking for versus kind of where we landed?
I don't know if we've broadcasted it yet, because I haven't made budget public to anybody yet until tonight. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's still an increase over last year. It's just not a 600% increase as requested.
They were here when I walked in. I thought you might have already told them. I was like,
I have not. I figured I wouldn't be the bearer of bad news until it was approved.
I mean, or good news, because it is money.
Right,
It's like-
They were here to
more.
reinforce their position.
Right.
Yeah, Mike came up and said, now, really, do good for us, would you? It sounded like a...
I mean, they got, you're right, they
police
did get more. So.
Okay. So one question I had on income, I noticed, I know we get ambulance fees, and we take that back at the,
Yeah.
but what about fees from other departments, like the building department? And where do those fees, or
So
when we take that back?
the difference between the fees that you see on the revenue budget, those are what are called receipts reserved for appropriation. By statute, they can be set up there. They keep their money, their funds hold their money until town meeting appropriates it out.
Yep.
Building, so when you go into the town meeting booklet, you see that big long chart of all the revolving funds.
Right.
Those by statute have to have a limit set to them, and then they close, whatever is over that limit closes back. If it's under that limit, it stays in their fund.
Right.
So
right.
they're just
So
different-
the
different
excess
rules.
that comes back to the town, but
You
doesn't
wouldn't
actually
see.
become part of our...
We don't
So,
count for
right,
it.
It is
Okay.
part of
Kind-
it is part of the budget. If you're looking under the revenues as to where those are collected, it's under
Local receipts.
Local receipts.
But I don't budget
Okay.
for them, because I don't count on those.
Yep.
So they will fall in there for free cash calculations when we close the fiscal year. I don't budget for them much. I budget for a little bit of building, but not much in the local receipt
Yep.
area.
Okay.
Only because I can't count on them always turning back money.
So as you see in the budget overview, the number that's that's shown in FY24, that's our actual collection number. The FY25 is our estimated number that we went into for this fiscal year. So we won't know what that actual is until June.
I won't
After
know what
June
it
close
is.
the
Well, I
books.
won't know what it is yet until
Until you
like
close.
August, September, yeah.
So based off of kind of our historical projections and using a conservative estimate, the 3,015,951 is the estimate number of local receipts that we're
Yep.
using to calculate this.
Yep, okay. The local receipts also, I know we get a meals tax, like I've heard on the Mass Pike, we get money from all of that. right?
It's-
That's also
Local
local.
receipts is meals tax, cannabis, departmental revenues,
Okay.
police, detail, they get admin fees from their, doing their details, it's that. a little bit of boat excise.
And again, because it's timing and because it's small amounts here and there, it's not part of this
We don't-
overall.
Right, we have it in our, I don't know. if we-
You could estimate.
There are other revenues that come into the town that don't fall into any of the other buckets, so you don't get new growth Prop 2.5 on them, you don't get, so they fall under that local receipt page. There are other revenues that come into the town that don't get accounted for anywhere else, so they get accounted for in that bucket of money.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like meals, cannabis, departmental revenues, fines and fees, so like people don't pay their bills on time, there's late fees, warrant, demands, all those fees all sit in there. Interest, all that's in there.
All right, Andrew?
Uh,
Anything else?
That's pretty much the high-end overview of the things, you know, positions was kind of the one thing for discussion, you know, for discussion. So everything else was pretty much pro forma.
Great. Did you guys hear what you wanted to hear tonight so far?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
They're
Okay.
calling
No.
you, sir.
Huh?
They're calling you, sir.
Yeah, I know it.
He holds a lot of power right now. You all do.
Can I just ask a really quick question?
Yeah.
There's a significant jump on local receipts actual for FY '24 versus budgeted. What was behind that?
Obviously, that was the Amazon.
The Amazon permits,
Amazon
more than,
permits.
more like.
Okay.
$1 million.
Yeah.
So I should have known that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we budget really, really conservatively for local receipts. So like a lot of it, we don't budget for all of the motor vehicle excise revenue that we get in. Just because I can only, by DOR law, I'm only allowed to increase lines plus or minus 20%. Since we've always been so conservative on some of
Yeah.
the lines, I can't account for all of it.
No, I think
So
that's
with motor
great.
vehicle, built, like I said, I don't budget for building permits or turnbacks from any of the revolving fund departments because I can't count on them. They're not guaranteed revenue.
Yeah.
And then we've, probably a lot of it's from police, from doing all the details, that brings in a lot of revenue, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then I see you going conservative
20,
again.
yeah.
A little bit higher in 25 and then,
Yeah.
or no, 26 you're going conservative again. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so I think if you're looking, the darker lines are all the
Yes.
actual side, so yeah, so
Jicks out like a
24,
sore
yeah,
thumb.
24 would have definitely been Amazon permits.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You know, one thing we did do this year, we started to pull back on our reliance on ambulance fees, receipts reserved for appropriation, mainly because we want to make sure that the next time that we have to go out for an ambulance, that we have sufficient funding in that account to still pull it right out of that versus going through free cash or
Yeah.
borrowing or something like that. So we wanted to try to pull back our operational reliance on those fees.
Yep, and I've been working with the chief too. We found that there's quite a bit of outstanding receivables that no one sent to collections or been written off if we didn't. So we have a high outstanding receivable balance, and the chief and I are going to work on handling, getting that taken care of because we've gotten dinged in our audit for that the past couple of years.
Have we?
Do we have a collection service or is that manual
Yes.
labor by you guys?
Nope, so we use
Okay.
Comstar, so
Okay.
Comstar, but the problem was that through change of hands from different admins down there, I'm assuming I never knew about it, so I had asked the chief, he's like, I don't know. So I think just from change of hands of admins, no one's looked at it. So the outstanding receivable balance has gotten really.
What do you think that's to the tune of?
Oh, it's like, what they say, like 400 something thousand on that.
453,000, I believe.
It's a 37-page report, so some of them we can send to collection, some of them we can't. So they're Comstar's going through the page to get us caught up, and then explain to us what the process should be, and who we can and can't send, and kind of what their process is to get to there, and then where we take it from.
Good.
So,
Yeah, there are a portion of that fees that we can't collect. If
Right.
someone's on Medicare, they're gonna pay their fee, and then we have to wipe out, which we understand, but there is a large number in that we should have sent Comstar, we should have given them direction
Yeah.
to further to the next step, and
Right.
they can't do it unless we
Give them
do
the
it,
okay.
unless we
Yeah.
authorize them,
Yeah.
and we'll get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So hopefully that will help, but also the obviously growing cost of vehicles doesn't help either, so we want to try to make that a self-sustaining, so we can fund the ambulances and also fund the paramedic and ambulance services for the budget too, so.
I will say, the only problem I have with that, and I've had this over time, is I'm not comfortable sometimes with one department raising its own money and staying within its own department.
only town meeting has control of the money though.
Yeah, I got that.
Right. So it's
But
not like,
more
it's
of
not
a
like the
mindset.
chief can just say,
Not that I don't want to
hey,
buy ambulances.
Right.
Okay? It's just that, I'm just afraid that sometimes if you can get into that habit of, well, this department raises this amount of money, so they're entitled to this, okay?
right,
You know, if Old Home Day somehow generated some funds, okay?
Right.
That we took back, and then all of a sudden we don't want to give them more money.
Right.
They could say, hey, but we raised. I
Right.
just don't want to see us ever get boxed into
Right.
that kind of a position. That's all.
Since you brought Old Home Day back up again, on page 19 of this budget, is this a like draft still?
no, this is, I'm balanced, so this
Okay.
is, if you guys are okay with it, this is what we'll move forward with, to present to the board and then.
All right, so then,
So
I
this is your
think,
time now to shine.
Right.
I
This is the
think that
time.
we, I thought that we approved $5,000 for them at our last meeting, and then.
Well, I guess it's up to you guys, I don't know if we said yes or no.
I thought, because they asked for 25,000, I thought we said 5,000, but then it doesn't show that for
Yeah,
the
I
recommendation.
showed an increase of 1,500.
Right.
That was one of my questions too.
So they-
I thought we had
Because
said
we said 5,000 in the minutes.
I thought we said 5.
Oh, okay, so we used to give them 5,500, so you wanted another 5,000 to go to them?
So,
think
so
we
I
said
thought,
total of 10.
I missed that.
I thought
Total
that
of
they
10,
had,
right.
yeah.
Total of
okay.
10.
Just give them a total of 10?
Right.
That's what I thought we
I
had
can
said.
fix that, that's fine. I might
But
have
does
missed
that now put us in an unbalanced
it.
state?
I can just,
We
it's
can-
2
we
grand,
can
I'll
work
balance
something
it.
That's something that you can figure out.
If
Okay.
you're telling me it was 20 grand, it'd be a different story, but 2 grand, I can find 2 grand.
Okay, all right, I just saw that and I was like, well, I want to ask.
Yeah,
I think that's different than what we
3
said.
grand, yeah, I can find 2 or 3 grand somewhere.
And again, he was pushing for his 25 when he was here earlier.
But yeah,
That was a good catch, Maggie.
depends on who's sending me lunch tomorrow.
Well, it just was different than what we had said.
Yeah,
that's
I
all.
missed that, that's my fault, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
So I
Glad I
I'll fix
looked at
that.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, glad you guys caught it.
I don't know
So
if you
I don't
guys have
know-
this personal experience, but I think sometimes people overshoot to get,
Something.
like, they're probably gonna be tickled with 10.
Yeah. So the only difference that I will add to you is I think when Andrew and I were originally talking, I know police chief did ask for money for details for like Old Home Day and the race for Old Home Day and that thing. So I think you know what I did? I gave Old Home Day 7 and gave him 2 as almost like an average of
Well,
10.
good, now
I would
you
say no,
just
it's
found
not.
where you're gonna get the 2. that
Well,
you're-
right, so but,
Yeah.
the only thing is that I know I wasn't relying on Old Home Day to pay him, because it's hard when it's the same budget to pay
Right.
people, so I was
Okay.
giving it to him to pay his guys if they have to do details.
Right, so that
Do we
money's.
wanna keep his
You
money
know,
there?
I'd say we keep the money in
Okay,
the
that's
police.
fine then.
Right.
He's gonna have to pay it anyway.
What,
Right.
there was a big meeting though, with the Old Home Day Committee.
I'm sure police chief was at that meeting.
Yeah, what was,
Well, I
what
think
was
that-
decided?
What happened was that somebody complained that we bring in details and the town pays for it, and the road race is actually a separate out-of-town event, but we bring in people. So then they said, is that ethical, that, you know, the townspeople are paying details for a private road race, but we kind of been doing it for the last 30 years, so I don't think anybody really had a, you know, an idea of, well, maybe it isn't past the taste test, maybe it is a bad thing to do, so.
I mean, if we looked at how many Charlton residents run in that race, it certainly serves Charlton.
Well, I can't help what somebody complains about.
No, I
You
know.
what I mean?
I'm
Like, that was
just
the
saying,
complaint
to
that
the
they-
person that
okay,
complained,
my argument
that
was,
seems.
okay, well, I didn't do anything new, we've been doing it this way for 30 years, and we just kind of always absorbed it. So that's where the conversation kind of started. Hey, how do we do this? And then we went to the road race and said, hey,
Yeah.
can you kick in something to help so that it offsets the cost? And there's a lot of people involved above my pay grade in this Old Home Day, and they want my numbers and how much I paid and how much for the fireworks, and because they're bickering amongst themselves, and we're sort of, I provided that because they asked, but.
But I think at the end of the day, with this conversation between funding Old Home Day Committee, funding the police, it's the same day, it's for the safety and protection of Charlton residents. It's coming
Yeah,
from
what
the
we asked
same
is that they talked
funding
about separating the
source.
road racing as doing it another day, and we said, whoa, that's,
I don't think
hey,
they're
well,
getting
you're
into that,
doubling
yeah.
my costs, so
Yeah.
you can't, you know, you gotta be on the same page and play nicely together.
Yeah.
We'll take the hit and make it work, but you can't stretch us out too far, that we're doing 2-3 days now.
Sure.
So we'll make it happen, I'm not worried about us covering it, but.
Actually, I would say if we agree that it goes up to 10 total,
Yeah.
the 8,000 should be to the Old Home Day committee directly.
Okay.
The 2,000,
Good enough.
and we can explain that to the Old Home Day Committee,
Okay.
that the police had to take 2,000 of that 10,
Yeah.
was decided by
Yeah.
finance,
Okay,
to fund their details.
Details.
And then that's where it is this year.
okay.
Yeah, the other thing, just to be candid, is we lost auxiliaries due to post. That used to be a thing where people could
Right.
volunteer and have police powers, and post said no more.
Right.
So we never really thought about how that was gonna impact us, because I used to pull, hey, if you wanna be an auxiliary, you're gonna be out there on such and such a day, so make plans accordingly, and
Yeah.
they did. But I don't have any ability to threaten them anymore with anything, because they don't have jobs.
Right.
And I know the race, not to belabor the topic, the race goes further out into town than any of the other activities, but I think you guys are keeping the general population on the common safe in that time. And then I have a dog in the fight with the kids race. I've had 2 years in a row, cars coming up.
We're gonna do it whether you give us money or not. We're
Don't
gonna make
say
it happen.
No, but
It
I
is a
think
burden.
this
It
is
a burden,
beneficial
and
of
there's a
the.
cost,
Yeah.
and, those are the arguments that people are making.
Yeah,
That's
I
not my
think
argument.
the road race just staying with the day is helpful to everyone.
Because once the road race is over, we button up, and it's a lot easier to run, because there's,
Yeah.
you don't meet as many people.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you're stretched out for the course, so.
Yeah, yeah.
So is everyone on board with what Jeremy said? So do the 8 to Old Home Day and then the 2 to police?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I'm not opposed to revisiting it next year if we were
Right.
to have the ability
No,
to, like Old Home Day, that committee provides a huge event for our community.
Right, right.
And they have been fundraising
Yeah, they've been really
by
good.
themselves.
Right, and they have been very successful in the past, so that has been working for them, but who's to know if that success continues? And if you
Or
want
the
the event
burden
to
of it.
continue, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
think
we have to
there's
anticipate
a
another
responsibility
increase this
of,
year.
like, how much we increase.
What, and so we did, yeah.
And I don't know if you took it back, but I did suggest looking at the booth fees.
I did not, but I can, when I tell them this, I will
Revisiting
tell them
that?
that, yeah.
Revisiting, just in a sense to be competitive with any other event.
Right, because that will bring in money too. more
And we
money.
talked about suggesting to them that they could ask residents if they're willing to donate more than they do.
Right,
When
right.
they're at the event, if they had even just like a couple of people walking around with some request buckets.
Okay.
Sadly, I'm on the Old Home Day Committee,
I was
so.
gonna say, yeah, he
No, but
is.
everything's expensive. When they bring a band in, it's $1,000. When they bring in fireworks, there's always a cost. So I understand their struggles
Right.
financially trying to
Yeah.
put on something, but.
But we were saying that there's a lot of us families that go, that if you said like, hey, we have a bucket, we're collecting donations, we would do that, but there isn't really even a
Right.
request for that, so.
I'll relay it back to them when I give them the budget, so.
And to be fair, I hate to say it, fire does help out tremendously with the ambulances and stuff during the road race and the event, as
Yeah.
well as highway. So it's not just police.
Right.
But I physically have to pay somebody to come in. That's
Right.
Yeah, we do for the day of Old Home Day, 4 members for the day, and then we do 6 the day of the fireworks. 2 of them required by Mass General Law, and then the other 4, just because of the large number of people there in the event of an incident, we put another 4 up there. So we have 10 people there for the day.
If you take the hills out of the race, you might need less people.
We'll see what we can do. I had a meeting with Nick earlier today, so we're working on some plans, so we'll see what we can do for the hill.
Just saying.
If you ask, somebody I know says it's not even, you don't run uphill when you run on the road race, you're only running down, so.
Oh, they lie.
They've never run
I
it.
100% agree with
They've
you.
never run it.
I drive up that hill every day.
So Ashley.
Yes.
And Andrew, is there nothing going to stabilization to any, like, I was trying to find.
That's October.
Yeah, usually we don't fund it in budget, usually we wait and to do it in October.
Is there, okay. I thought I saw last few years,
We-
multiple line items of increasing stabilization.
We have in
Include that
October,
with
yeah.
total.
So the budgets that you see for prior year include your October town meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why they're.
Okay. That's the full.
Because that's why you see there's so much that's been closed, because we closed excess levy capacity, because we had more new growth, so that's why you see all like the big
All right.
positive numbers at the bottom there on some of them, yeah.
And once we get a certified number in October.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when we have all,
Cash
the
money.
cash to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know the way that it was laid out.
It would be
I
nice
was
if we
like-
could, but
Yeah, just
it's
the way
not
it was
working
laid out,
out,
it made
yeah.
it look like it was
Yeah. So we do fund OPEB, so I have that 250 to OPEB, which we like to see into the operating, but unfortunately I don't have enough to throw at stabilization for the fall.
Plus we're above our 10% policy threshold.
Right.
That was gonna be my next question, is where are we?
I think we're 12%, 12 or 13, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, we went out to, we had our call on Thursday last week with the bond rating company, their name's S&P, to get rated, because we're going out to the market next Wednesday for the substation for bonds.
Okay.
And we held our AA plus bond rating, which is really
Awesome.
good because S&P changed their ratings. So we were kind of afraid that we were going to backtrack,
Yep.
because a lot of it's based on economic stuff that we can't control. So it's based on how much per capita is in the town, how much per capita income the residents of the town make comparatively to the rest of Worcester County. So they take Charlton and compare it to the rest of Worcester County, and we aren't as favorable as some of the other bigger communities, even though we work really hard to be a strong financial town. Just the other things that we can't control. So we were glad that we held it at AA plus. That was good.
Congratulations.
They did say that we have a lot of favorable things, and if we keep growing, that maybe at some point we'll be more like a Shrewsbury or Westboro, and we can
Hopefully we
have a
get there.
AAA. See, that's our goal.
What I'm thinking, Jeremy, too, is that if we're at 12% now on the general, right, and 10 was our goal, that come October, do we then start thinking, well, maybe we don't need stabilization increase, but we go to the capital stabilization? Because every time these guys walk in highway, all right, it's $400,000 for a vehicle, it's $800,000 for a pumper, and maybe we got to start building that stabilization fund.
And I'm just worried about the school conversation where, you know, the growth and where we might get into this period of time where the growth isn't there, and yet we're getting big increases from the school that we need to be prepared for. Not that we're in a bad spot by any means.
That's in the back of our minds, but at some point that will happen. Because it takes a couple years for the formula to catch back up. So
Yes.
you'll have new growth from a couple years, and then at one point you won't have any new growth that year, but you're still paying for it. So.
Three years, right, of you're pretty much paying for your growth backdated.
I didn't see cistern repair in here. Did
I left
miss
it in fire chief's budget.
It is? I
It's
looked
on
at
there.
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it's a separate line. It was just included in one of his expense accounts.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't-
Because I was looking for the word.
Yeah, I don't think I really had to cut
And
much.
Hank,
expense
just, you know, I met with Nick today, and we've,
Have you talked about? Yeah,
we
them?
did, and we have a plan in place to take care of some of the minor stuff, and then he's gonna help me on one of the major ones, Carroll Hill Road, to figure out a cost estimate to get that taken care of as well.
Yeah.
So I met with him this morning.
Because to me, Chief, it makes more sense to be in the highway department than in the fire department.
Right.
So let's get that moved over to them as soon as we can. All right, but that's in here somewhere.
Yeah, it's in
Just-
his expense account. I can move it to highway if you'd rather see it there, but.
No, it's,
Okay.
no, because who's going to be signing off on it?
It would be Robbie, yeah, because
Right,
it's in his
so
budget, right?
whoever has to sign off on it, keep it in their budget until we make that move. Anybody see anything else that they have a question on? And I was just curious, how close, well, you had Bay Path's budget earlier, so.
I already had Bay Path and.
Right, so I was wondering how close you were to their,
Oh, yeah, no, I had it
We
already.
basically, though, Bay Path's the second that the state releases the numbers because they're always at minimum
That-
contribution, so.
Andrew's got a lovely
Yeah.
formula back into their numbers, so.
you hit the button and it just pops up.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Governor tells me.
All right.
So the only thing that will change for budget, maybe before town meeting, is if the police union settles their contract, I'll add it back to the police budget.
So you'll take it out of HR
Yeah,
and put it into?
yes,
Okay.
yep.
So the total bottom line number
Won't
doesn't
change,
change?
yes.
Just the allocation above it does?
Yes, and you'll still see some in HR's budget, because I have 2 retirements in there right now.
Yep.
And then I have our two other unions, fire and highway, are both up for negotiation this year, so.
Do we have any capital requests on this year's?
Yes, so I'll go through first, we kind of broke it out as two different capital budgets. One as a supplemental FY '25, and then a
So,
It's like an FY '26, which is the ones that we aren't going to touch until October.
Gotcha.
So I have the list here. There were a few that have come up that one thing was we were going through the warrant today again. We do have to add one again for the fire engine 2 replacement, because it being a debt, we need to authorize the debt versus putting it in the capital budget. Typically, our capital stuff, we've just looked at it. Okay, we have our capital line, but of course, when you
I was
do these
thinking we-
special borrowing ones, they need to be their own language, so we're gonna have to add one
Sorry,
more.
Bill.
I did get a revised number from Health for their waste site cleanup and MCP services. That was brought down to $313,386.
Is that the number that's on here already?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was, I believe it was like 418. So it did drop significantly. But also, yeah, the solid health requirements was 57,296.
Yeah.
Then snow and ice, I think that number might need to modify
Yeah.
based off of.
He's at 2 already,
He's
so I
at
think
2.
he's got a couple bills still trickling in, so I think he'll probably be at like 220, 250.
Yeah.
Before we get there.
So that'll increase just a little bit. For fire, I know there's a couple of capital in here. We at least put in, they're all around the same dollar figure. I put in at least the one here for new windows, siding, gutters, and front entrance. That was $96,800. The Congress says we had approved a warrant article last year for $75,000 for the Station of Learning, which we aren't now going to utilize. So that'll close back out in free cash and almost offset. Cross out the one for the COA and
Yeah.
realize that one.
That one's gone, right?
Yeah.
The library HVAC chiller, that was $13,000. Really try to fix it before it gets brutally hot in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there were just two more that didn't carry in here. $30,000 for grant matching. Essentially, that is a Green Communities grant. We're putting in for $250,000 in weatherization upgrades. Our match to that would be $30,000. And then number 2 schoolhouse, we had bids come in on that one. We had allocated money to that project in the fall. Bids just came in. It was essentially the construction cost was almost the exact cost of what we had budgeted for construction, engineering, and other remedial work that needed to be done. So in order to get the full project done, we'll just do a supplemental to that one.
What are you saying? It's cheaper to build a fire station than rebuild the schoolhouse?
Hey, at least we got $50,000 from the state,
A non-used school.
right? Yeah. A historic property.
Yeah.
I know. Which I hope gets used after it's fixed up.
Is that just the timing thing? Costs went up?
It was the estimate from the engineer at the time was $220,000, and we went in with a $40,000 contingency, and then the construction, the bid costs that we came in were $290,000. So
That'll do it.
All right. What else we got? Anything else on the, otherwise we got a clean budget to?
No, yeah, any other wild cards that you're, like, potentially tracking?
Wild card stuff. I'm trying to think at this point.
I reached out to all the departments today to see if they were on track for budget, so I haven't
Yeah.
heard back from many yet, so.
Yeah, budget performance has still been really good. I think we're keeping our eye on utilities, and that being the National Grid, was it their distribution rate
Yeah, the
increase
delivery
had us through a
fees.
little bit of a loop, so we're almost right on. It's just going to depend on how quickly we can stop paying for oil and heat, and then how much of the electrical credits that we purchase we can reallocate back before the end of the fiscal year. So I think we're almost right on, but by other money within that operational budget, we can just use the cover. So I don't think they'll have to go and take anything from, or at least free cash or otherwise
Yeah.
other funds to cover that cost.
Yeah.
you think of anything, Ashley?
No, I don't have much wiggle room in budget this year, so if I have any big hitters from anybody, we'll have to come back to town meeting, but right now I haven't heard back from anybody, so.
Good. I think this is the first year we've not actually tapped into.
Don't say it out
No,
loud.
you
What
gotta-
are you
you
doing?
gotta-
What are you doing?
We're not
You
gonna
tapped
tell
into it, you can't say that.
I'm not
You
a
tapped into-
superstitious type,
You
okay?
tapped
All,
into
all
it.
the rest of us are.
But you tapped into it already, so it doesn't matter.
Huh?
You tapped into your reserve fund.
When?
Library,
Did we do it for the library?
yeah, at their budget hearing in
Yeah.
February,
Perfect.
$7,000.
See, I guess I already blew it.
Yeah.
Right, Clem.
Okay.
So,
All right, I've got nothing else. If anybody doesn't have anything, I'll entertain a motion to
real quick, the only thing I do have is we got our financials back, but this year, instead of doing regular GAAP financials, we did a special fancy report. I presented it to the Board of Selectmen last night. I forgot to put it on my thumb drive, but I'll stick it in your Dropbox.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, we can talk about it at our next meeting, but they're just fancier financials that are nice, and hopefully in 6 months we'll hear if we got an award for it, so
Oh,
we'll see.
cool.
Yeah, so it's nice,
Good
nice
luck.
work by the team, so we'll see if it comes back, but it is really nice, they have some, it's like our, so at some point we'll try to get a budget award one, but,
I might put it for this one.
yeah, right? See if it wins, see if it sticks. So it's kind of like our budget award, how there's a lot of graphics in it now, like pictures and stuff from the town. So that's in the ACFR, and then just easier reading for financials and more, I think, narratives.
Yep.
It's long, so, but I'll just share it out on the Dropbox
Okay,
for you guys
good.
to see, and I'll post it online for everyone else to see.
Yeah,
So.
and our next meeting is April 16th, and that
Yeah.
will be a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen
And Dudley Charlton Regional School District.
and the Dutch, okay?
And you're in Florida.
And I'll be in Florida, so
Okay.
Christian will be chairing the meeting from here, right? I'll log in, but
Upstairs?
it'll be upstairs.
Hopefully,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was thrown off tonight.
Uh,
Too.
Conservation Commission, thank you again. They have a lot of butters up there tonight.
Is that what it
'Cause,
was?
Yeah, the proposed condos that are
It was
going.
dark, right? I was like, where are we going?
Was that L. Stevens, the corner of L. Stevens and Main Street? So that's on the agenda tonight. So they have a lot of butters up there.
Yeah, okay.
So
No, not a problem. I don't mind meeting.
they were happy that you guys were flexible.
But again, you know, Christian will be chairing the meeting from here, and I'll be chiming in, so
I liked the tablecloth.
I got this.
I know you do. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And a
So
motion, I have a
Jamie
second. All
moved
those
it.
all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed say no. It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.